Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Why Everybody Tells You to Read the Manga, Tokyo Ghoul version. I'm just gonna get this out of the way real quick. One of the main reasons why you should pick it up is just for the art. Ishida does a really great job drawing his characters, and it's just beautiful. So, why don't you just pick it up for that? Have a great piece of art in your collection. So, not only that, but also the characters are more fleshed out in the manga, which you'll be seeing here shortly once I go into detail versus video versus what the pages actually say. So let's get right down to it. Major discrepancies really start at episode 10. That's whenever I noticed that they just kind of said, we gotta rush production or something like that, so let's get a move on. But yeah, Ayato on the roof. Nice kick, Aito. Really showed him who's boss. Do you forget the days whenever you were, I don't know, actually a fucking badass? You'll see, they have this weird type of censoring that they do in the anime that really has no point. Yeah, we get it. You're the fucking edgelord. And your sister and you have different ideals. Whatever, speed it up. Then these guys show up. It's weird that they picked now for them to enter instead of them actually being at the cafe ahead of time. You really lose the sense of the enemy is right under your feet at any moment. Sup, Juzo? So instead of developing Shinohara and Juzo's relationship, they totally added all this shit in and didn't explain about RC cells or the different types of Kaguns. At least they have voice actors. Never send a chair to do a man's job. They're so ambiguous with this shit of like what they're actually there to do, but whenever the mission was just to capture Rise, do they ever mention that? No, no. It's just because he wants to. Like what even is will this one do? Like they say explicitly they're here to capture Rise. What the fuck? Hey, you wanna see some crazy shit? Watch this. Now you may be all be thinking, that's some brutal shit, right? Um, you'd be wrong. Considering the fact that he puts him through a fucking wall. He just saved her life. So this is another part that kind of confuses me slash makes me a little bit mad. They censor all the really like brutal scenes, like how Ayato like totally crashed through that window and at the same time kicked Banjo directly in the face slash arm, and how Yamamori like fucking destroyed him through the wall. But they add this little scene where he just like beats the shit out of him for like just because he wants to, when like in the manga they just literally bag and tag him and go. Like why add this? Did they want to make it seem more edgy or something? Like why sacrifice plot for this shit? Hey, that's pretty important. And that's pretty important too. Good little nods to stuff in the manga that people who probably watch the anime never fully understood. I may make a video on Juzo's backstory later, but right now I want to talk about what happens after Kaneki gets captured. Now they're going right back into the let's get the gang back together instead of actually explaining what the fuck Kaneki actually had to go through whenever they took him to the Aogiri tree. That was rough. It also was one of the greatest character arcs that he ever went through. Alright, now I'm gonna attempt to explain what exactly happened or what they cut out. For future reference, all of this stuff can be found in volume 6 of Tokyo Ghoul. So we come across Kaneki. He's in the thick of it, man. He was bagged, he was tagged, he's in the Aogiri tree now. We found out that Tatara was actually the one who needed Rise, but Kaneki, for some reason, he doesn't fit the bill. He's just not Rise enough, I guess. So Also from this, we learned something very important. The doctor that actually operated on Kaneki is doing illegal ghoul experiments, and he knows full well that whenever he treated Kaneki, he was moving ghoul cells into a human body. And now, the Eloguri tree is looking for him, probably because they're interested in his research. Also, the thing that Kaneki got wasn't just a kidney, it was probably her Kagun. Plus, Tatara tells him that the manager has just been grooming him this entire time instead of actually helping him. So now Kaneki is alone and afraid, and he thinks he can't trust anyone, which makes him think that probably they're not going to come to get him or even help him. This doubt helps Kaneki grow as a character. Now he has to learn on his own who to trust as he sees the underbelly of the Ghoul Society. Kaneki gets kind of like inducted into the little like gang thing that Banjo has in the Aogiri, which includes a mother and her son, which is pretty important to note. Kaneki learns about the hierarchy of the Aogiri tree, and they plan an escape route. Things are looking up, or so they think. Grunt ghouls are actually put into slave labor where they're forced to process meat for the upper class, who are the ghouls who are more powerful. It's interesting to note that not all ghouls destroy their food when they eat. Most of them cut it up nicely or don't make a mess of it, this actually being sickening to ghouls. Drama ensues in the processing room. A child is accused of taking meat. Now, Kaneki is forced to watch as Banjo, someone with no power, does something more noble than he could ever do without even a second thought. This is some good character development. Kaneki now realizes that he's pretty pathetic. It's the day of the big jailbreak. Everybody's in high spirits as they race towards freedom, when all of a sudden, the worst possible thing happens. The tree gets notified. Banjo stays back to become a human meat shield, because that's what Banjo does. He's a majestic creature, while the rest forge on ahead. But Kaneki, again, questions this. He's like, is this really okay? Which, to be honest, it's not. So he finally mans up and goes back and helps Banjo. So a fight breaks out, right? Which is pretty neat, as all fights go. But then this motherfucker shows up, with their comrades in tow. He offers Kaneki the choice of either becoming his subordinate and letting everyone go, or just killing everyone. This gives more of a psychological depth to the narrative, because he could have just bagged and tagged Kaneki and killed everyone, but instead, he makes him think that he's doing a good thing in saving his comrades, and that he's okay under his power. When in all actuality, we know what's gonna happen next. They're gonna get captured, and Kaneki's gonna get tortured. So all of that character development, all of that psychological stuff, all culminates down to one simple line in the fucking anime, which is... タタラさんが君のこといらないって言うから、僕が引き取ることにしたんだ。よかったよ。Well, I'm not. This was trash.